The Last of Us is famous for not pulling any punches when it comes to throwing in emotional events in a post-apocalyptic world plagued by infection. The video game series, developed by Naughty Dog, one of Sony's most esteemed studios, places enormous value on its narrative and the tales it tells, no matter how grim they become. In today's video, we'll be talking about the most intense moments from the series. To begin with, Riley and Ellie are bitten. This lists first entry, Left Behind, which centers on Ellie and her best friend Riley before she met Joel, is actually from the DLC. The DLC alternates from Ellie in the present with Riley and Ellie in the past, as she tends to an injured Joel in the game's winter setting. Here, Ellie actually exhibits the behaviors of a young adolescent. She is compelled to mature far too quickly in order to survive during the main game. Here, she makes more silly faces and smiles than before. In typical teenage form, Riley even gives her her first kiss and crush. It gives you a chance to see her for who she truly is, a child. It didn't last though, which was to be expected. A bunch of the infected chase Ellie and Riley, who both end up getting bitten. They make the decision to lose their brains together while they wait out the illness. Those who have completed the main game will be aware that Ellie is resistant to the fictitious cordyceps virus, which in the world of The Last of Us spread like a real-life parasitic fungus. Ellie's acceptance that she won't change is not shown to us, and we also don't see how she handles Riley getting sick. But we are aware that this really does occur, and that Ellie is affected in a significant way. The moment where they get bitten is extremely sad, as fans already know what's gonna happen. Next, Henry's suicide and Sam turns. Ellie and Joel are ambushed after arriving in Pittsburgh, where they then encounter brothers Sam and Henry, two further survivors. The four of them band together and leave the city to avoid the ambush, which has also taken Sam and Henry away from their group. Sam and Ellie are roughly the same age, and Joel and Henry are both serving as guardians and mentors to their young wards. Sam discovers he's been bitten, but keeps it a secret from the group just as they're beginning to bond. Sam attacks Ellie as she goes to check on him in the daytime after becoming infected. Henry is the one to save Ellie by shooting Sam, despite his first horror. Henry then shoots himself in the head to just heighten the tragedy of the situation. Terrible, right? Brandon Scott and Najee Jeter, who play Henry and Sam, respectively, give outstanding performances. Scott does a fantastic job of capturing Henry's astonishment and anguish, and his delivery of the heartbreaking words, "This is all your fault," as he points his gun at Joel, is made all the more tragic when you learn that he isn't even speaking to Joel. He's addressing himself. It also explains why he decided to kill himself in the next split second. It's obvious that he's unable to handle his remorse or the idea of surviving without Sam. Joel jumps at the abrupt shot and trembles, clearly affected by Henry's suicide. After that, David is killed by Ellie. While out hunting, Ellie comes across a different group led by a man named David, who is excellently portrayed by Nolan North. At first, David seems reasonable and open to trading. This is undoubtedly not the case, as would be predicted. Ellie learns that David's gang is made of vicious cannibals who will do anything to survive. The player must silently move through an empty restaurant while carrying only a little knife in order to try and sneak up behind David and stab him. David is doing this while saying unsettling things to Ellie, such as, "Run, little rabbit, run," when he sees her. Ellie is eventually overcome by David, who then says that Ellie has no idea what he's capable of as he gets on top of her. Ellie succeeds in grabbing his machete and uses it to slash him in the face. Then, while sobbing, she continues to strike him in the face repeatedly with it. As her emotions take control of her, her fury and terror develop as a brutal and violent act, spitting blood onto her face. Ellie's attack is interrupted just in time by Joel, who has since awakened and located Ellie. Joel comforts her with a hug. Ellie's response is an excellent example of an emotional explosion. In a matter of seconds, David could have killed her, severely injured her, or done something horrific to her. Also, we have Sarah's death, beginning with Joel talking about sick neighbors, one of whom bursts through the door and becomes the first infected we encounter. The situation soon dramatically worsens. Tommy and Sarah try to flee with Joel, but the city is swiftly overrun by the infected as a result of the traffic-clogged roadways. As Sarah, you simply observe as the world implodes from the backseat of the vehicle. The player assumes control of Joel as he races through the streets with Tommy while holding Sarah because Sarah's leg is fractured. Despite all the bloodshed they witness, they reach the roadway and run into a soldier there. Joel begs him, but after an awkward radio exchange, he raises his gun and fires. Sarah is fatally injured while Joel is unharmed. Joel tries to push on her wounds as she sobs in pain, but he is unsuccessful. As she passes away, he holds her. The feeling is painfully realistic. Only a heart of stone could remain emotionless throughout this scene. Of course, the death of a child in any media can be impactful, but Naughty Dog succeeded in developing a fully formed, charming, and likable child character in just 20 minutes, one that has an impact impact on us. This scenario is made even more terrifying to see by the excellent performances. It's even more unsettling to hear the somber guitar music playing. Moving on, Abby's revenge. As was implied in the trailer, this game heavily emphasizes getting payback. It stands to reason that The Last of Us Part 2's most moving scenes take place when the game physically portrays vengeance being carried out. Joel is violently killed as a result of this contentious incident by Abby and a number of former Fireflies. It could be difficult to watch, not only due to the brutality, but also due to Ellie's response when it occurs in her direct line of sight. His death is not quick and painless. It's slow and painful. Abby beats Joel with a golf club for a good amount of time to the point where he can barely move, getting revenge on Joel for killing her father. Ellie runs just in time to stop this, but is unable to when she's tackled to the ground, kicked in the face and in the stomach multiple times, and pinned to the ground by many individuals. She screams and cries and begs Abby to stop as Abby delivers the final blow and cracks open Joel's head right in front of her eyes. If that wasn't enough, she's later kicked in the face again and knocked out. After that, Ellie boss fight. Players will have to utilize Abby to defeat Ellie in a boss battle, which is a somewhat unexpected development, given that Abby absolutely destroys Ellie in a fight that you're compelled to win. It can be difficult to get through this intense Last of Us 2 scene. It's difficult to watch what happened to the young girl you were following in the first game. Furthermore, you're the one doing it. It makes sense that Abby would triumph over Ellie in a close quarters fight, and that's exactly what happens. She chokes her, fractures her arm, and nearly kills Dina as well. As soon as Abby learns that Dina is pregnant, the entire situation comes to a boil. Fortunately, Lev stops her before retaliation overcomes her once more, as it did with Ellie. The fight is extremely unsettling, as the players aren't given a chance to back out and are forced to brutally beat up their favorite character. It's probably the wildest, most gory, and most brutal fight of the game. The fear of Abby trying to kill Dina and her baby takes the tension and intensity to the next level. Next, Ellie corners Nora. Another poignant scene with graphic retaliation may be seen in The Last of Us Part 2. When Ellie finally meets a member of Abby's organization, she has all the time in the world. Ellie kills Nora brutally as an expression of her rage, but when she gets back to her base in the theater, she is clearly horrified by what she did. By this time, she has obviously killed a lot of people, but having to make Nora talk has an impact on Ellie. Ellie corners Nora and brutally starts beating her with a rod-like object. We hear her cry and grunt painfully, but all we see is Ellie's monstrous rage and squirts of blood flying here and there before the camera cuts. It's difficult to watch Ellie come to terms with her actions, as it's hinted that the situation between the two just got worse after the camera cut away. She walks back to the theater where she's staying covered in blood, with bruise marks on her knuckles and trembling. She even has trouble sleeping, but Dina tries to comfort her. Lastly, the beach fight. Ellie and Abby are facing off once again. You play as Ellie this time. Ellie just can't let go of her resentment, despite the fact that both characters are worn out and shattered. Due to everything that has transpired over Ellie and Abby's whole adventure in The Last of Us Part 2, this moment is extremely emotional. At this point, Abby is only fighting to defend Lev, while Ellie still feels that she needs to take revenge on Joel. This battle is tough. Abby's skin is punctured, her fingers are broken, and she nearly drowns. Ellie ultimately makes the choice to let go of her animosity. She might have realized that Abby is to Lev what Joel was to her in that regard. It's a touching scene regardless of her motivation. It was horrifying to watch an already malnourished Abby being beaten up, and an already grief-ridden Ellie getting her fingers bitten off. It was truly one of those scenes that stayed with the players for a long time. And with all that, that's a wrap for this video. Which one of these scenes was your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.